Well, Taurus, Uranus is extremely active in your first house, so we're going to talk about it a little bit. Yes, we'll get into the cards, definitely, Taurus. This is your weekly tarot card reading from Born Without Boundaries Tarot. It is for Taurus. That's my dog. It is for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. And like I said, I'm going to start with the astrology, and then we'll move into the cards. First, remember to subscribe to the channel and ring that notification bell so that you know when I upload your favorite content. Taurus comes out every single Thursday, but you know there's 11 other zodiac signs out there too, and there's always an extended reading. Whether you're an unbound member, think about joining that membership. It's exceptional. You'll get all the extendeds for the length of your membership, and then a bunch of other treats as well, or the extended link is down below. Either way, I love you guys. Let's get into the reading. Astrology first. So Uranus is extremely active, and I love it, man. It's not just sitting there. I feel like a lot of times last year what it did was it struggled with Saturn, but it wasn't necessarily really active on a lot of other things. Well, right now it's really active. It's motivational, and that's why I knew change was going to come this year. We want change now, and especially you. Now let's talk about the square between Uranus and Mercury and what that means. Well, it means that you'll have insights into wonderful, things that other people may not see, and those insights will be very brilliant, but they could also torment you, right? They could also bring you down. What is going to really work for you right now is if you find a way to ground yourself in the tangible. You need this now. With so much impact with all this cranial stuff, an earth sign like you, cranial as in Uranus, Uranus, Mercury, all this cranial, intellectual, conceptual, all that stuff going on, and like really like motivating you and broadening you and expanding you. You're an earth sign. You need to be connected. Find a way to focus that energy, that intellect, those new ideas into doing something with your hands, something tangible. It is going to change your life, and legitimately could change your life, because ultimately what then you'll be doing is taking something from concept and putting it into reality. So what you need right now is discipline. If you're thinking about all these ideas, all these stories you want to tell, all these experiments you want to do, what you need to do is find some sort of discipline, some sort of routine to help ground you in that routine, to help ground you into the tangible, so that you can use that discipline to discipline yourself, so that you can focus these ideas into something that you can control and they don't get away from you. Because what could happen is you could really start getting upset and find yourself driven to distraction because you're realizing things that other people don't realize. And ultimately, that's wonderful, but just like every gift, every one of your greatest gifts is also your greatest curse. There's that downside where it could drive you to distraction or drive you to isolation. And what's really going to help keep you from that or prevent that is by you doing something to master. Focus that energy, focus that insight. Go take martial arts classes, use your body. Go take dance classes, use your body. Go and take any classes, go back and get another degree if you're in college. Like any kind of discipline that's going to expect something from you and keep you on routine and keep you accountable for assignments that you didn't even give yourself is going to really help you. It seems like it would be distracting you. No, because what you need right now is something to ground you. That's what you need more than anything, because there's nothing that's going to distract you from these awakening thoughts. They're just going to come spilling out of you. So what you really need now is a connectivity to a discipline so that it doesn't carry you away with them, and instead you can decide and you can control what you do with this energy. So that's my biggest suggestion for you as you head into this week's energy. Also, the North Node is there, and holy crap, it's got this powerful aspect to Pluto and Venus and Mars. So it's like shit's shifting. I'm just saying, like, everything is changing. It could be changing very radically in your life, very tangibly. Like, what you want to go after and what you value is going to be changing a lot. And it may surprise you. You may not want things that you thought that you'd want for your whole career. Let those changes happen. Okay, don't doubt yourself, shame yourself, discredit yourself. Allow yourself to change. I just read a quote, I believe from Till Swan, that just was reminding people that it's okay to change. It's okay to make a midlife change. It doesn't mean that you failed. It just means now it means now you have another destination, right? So there's a sense of allow this to happen. Accept it, don't fight it, and motivate yourself to get on top of it. Honor it by paying attention to it and seeing how you can actually make it tangible. Okay? So let's go into the cards. Taurus. Taurus. What insights do you have for Taurus right now? Taurus. Okay. Transformation is beautiful. It's a butterfly, not a cocoon. And that it goes along with exactly what I was saying, in that this is a time for you to actually transform yourself. All those pieces of yourself from before go into what's made you now. But what's made you now is not going to look anything like what you were before. In fact, you may look in the mirror and not be able to recognize yourself. Okay? That's kind of the transitional, transformative period that you're in right now. Changes that kind of take you up in the air instead of ground you, right? Caterpillars are grounded, butterflies fly, right? They don't walk. Maybe they crawl along. But this is another mode of transportation. So for you. So ultimately, what does that mean? It could mean travel. Absolutely. It could mean that you're actually going somewhere or flying somewhere. But I think more pointedly, it means that this is a different version of you that the world's going to start to see. And it's a more beautiful version because it was acted upon by God. What do I mean by that? The butterfly is a leap of faith. Like, what does God ask the caterpillar in the cocoon? Trust me. I'm going to completely deconstruct you to the cellular level. Trust me. And the caterpillar does it without fail. It's nature. It's its instinct. It follows its instinct, even though it's got to be legitimately liquefied and deconstructed. That's a huge leap of faith, don't you think? If you think about it too much. So don't think about it too much. Trust it. Because what is on the other side of that? That's the part that is God. It's like when you reach your highest self. We talk about transformation all the time, Taurus. We talk about reaching your higher self, reaching a higher vibration. How do you do that? The only way is through God. The universe, whatever you'd like to call it, it doesn't matter. It's only through the connectivity to something that is bigger than you and knows more than you and is more important than you, because you can't see as far as it can. You don't know as much as it knows, and you may never be able to comprehend all that it understands. So ultimately, you have to trust it. And that's why we grow wings. That's why we can ascend. Because we're not now, when we've put in that leap of faith, when we have trusted, we now have abilities that were far beyond whatever we could have imagined for ourselves. And there's the beauty of the butterfly. God participated in the recreation. You've let that faith in. And so ultimately, that's what's happening now. This is a huge leap of faith, and that your transformation is based on that. Now, what is that? We'll get into more specifics, but I just wanted to go over the more esoteric understanding of what that was first. And then we have the abundant universe will provide. Bam! That's your energy, buddy. And it will. Tangible resources, you don't have to worry about them. You've got them. Resources including money. You could even be transforming your financial situation, working on yourself, working on your finances to feel how much you've changed or how much you've grown. That could be the biggest expression of it, is that you don't spend money the way that you used to or interact with money the way that you used to. You're starting to see it in a different perspective, in a different way. It doesn't control you as much anymore, and that's why you have more control over it. right? Something, it's like you're transforming the resources that you have, maybe to do bigger things with them, or wanting to motivate others to do bigger things with what they have. Taking the resources and looking beyond the obvious. And then we have open to infinite possibilities. This is shut down. This is in reverse. Open to infinite possibilities in reverse is, this is what I just got. It's not about infinite possibilities. It's about your focal point. This is about, don't let your mind go anywhere. Don't let your mind go everywhere. It sounds like that would be the best thing, right? Open your mind, broaden your mind. Open your mind, broaden your mind, but follow your heart. What does your heart want to focus on? You need a focal point at this point. If you let it go everywhere, you're going to go everywhere. So it's really dependent upon one thing. Like, what do you want to focus on? And you can let yourself obsess over this. You can let yourself completely dive into this. In fact, this will be a very safe place for you to dive, because you can take all your concepts and manifest them through this one thing you're focusing on. One project, one job, one this, one that, whatever it is for you, this is where you focus. And I tell you, this is where the heart and mind co-create. Because your heart will always remind you that assignment from the divine. Right? Your heart is like the megaphone for your soul. That's what it is. It's talking to you. It's telling you what's important to you. And your brain now can focus on that. Now it has options. It can take all these concepts, right, that you're thinking, all these beautiful, new, crazy ass, how did this even pop into my head ideas? And now you have a focal point. It's coming from your heart. Right? It's not about doing everything. It's about doing one thing extremely well. What's going on? No. Yeah. Taurus. So we have see the big picture. I just feel like there's something almost like you're butting heads with somebody. You're butting heads with people that you consider short-sighted. Okay? I get it. And then life is speeding up. So you're trying to communicate with people who are very stubborn and are very bullheaded. You could actually be seeing bits and pieces of yourself right now coming back at you. But ultimately, what doesn't matter, that doesn't really matter. Well, that does matter, because self-awareness matters now. You can't grow yourself if you're not aware of yourself. So meeting yourself or having parts of your character that you need to work on reflected in others is definitely teaching you something. But ultimately, I think you're really starting to butt heads with people who have very narrow vision or very narrow-minded. They're not open-minded. And if in ways you're dealing with some sort of closed-mindedness with this energy and this energy in reverse, and it's blocking you in, it's like you're trying to talk and you're trying to say something, you're trying to communicate. We have, the words are coming out, like proliferation of words, right? You got Uranus there, and it's a square to Mercury. You have all these ideas. You're sharing, and you see that other people are not keeping up with you. This is really frustrating. You're butting heads. So this is where the focus comes in. This is where the focus comes in, realizing your heart. It's not about a fight. The fight can distract you. It's legitimately about, okay, I'm going to pull the fuck back, and I'm going to say, okay, what are your boundaries? How do I respect it? But ultimately, we still have to get this done. Refocus them back to the chore. Refocus them back to the job. But do know that you're expanding faster than everybody else around you. And they're not going to see what you see vividly. What is reality for you is they're not going to see until you create it and show it to them. They're not going to see it till they believe it. You already believe it because you already have the enlightenment. But ultimately, you're going to keep butting heads with these people because they don't get it, they don't see it, and they're blocking you in. And I can understand that. That's very frustrating. We have turn knowledge into wisdom. That's in reverse. So, in other words, the cards are kind of warning you that ultimately you're going to be dealing with ignorance for a while. I know. It's like, aren't you supposed to give me good news? No, I'm supposed to give you the energy. This is what you're dealing with right now. You're dealing with people who just don't get it. right? But ultimately, that's your motivation. Appreciate this moment for what it is, and what it is a revelation of what you're going to be facing and what you're going to be dealing with. It doesn't get easier. It gets more possible when you accept what you're working with and you get out of denial of this difference between you. And once you acknowledge what you're working with, amen, now you can have a little bit more influence over it. Turn knowledge into wisdom. Tend to the small things. You're working with people who legitimately don't know what the fuck they're doing. Or somebody here doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. And I think instead of disappointment, what I'm feeling is anger. What I'm feeling is frustration. But also that can translate into motivation. But ultimately, these are really ignoramus this is kind of vibes. Like they don't even know what they're doing is toxic. Right? This is very naive or very, very, like I said, closed-minded. Using facts incorrectly is what I'm picking up. Turning petty things into big things, like trying to manipulate, because wolf energy in reverse is kind of like the moon card in reverse. So it's kind of like a very deceptive and could be very manipulative, intentionally keeping things suppressed so that everybody focuses on stupid shit. I don't know what the hell that is, but let's get a little deeper into that. Like, whoa. I feel like this is where your mind is. I feel like you're starting to see very clearly the corruption and how it's disrupting things. We have the tribe here, so that's good. You've got a great support system, or you're learning how to become part of the support system. And it could be that, this tribe of yours is changing. You're starting to find yourself drawn to different people, but it's solidifying, right? That's the good news. And then we have deep knowing. So, deep knowing. So what does deep knowing mean? It means that you are conscious of something that other people do not understand. So these ignoramuses that you're dealing with, right? It's like you're seeing out into the future. 100% other people aren't going to see it. We already discussed that. But this is like a deep understanding. Your realization of this is a deep knowing. You're seeing the depth of it. Other people will not. And the tribe, I think, that you're being connected to, I think that's one of the major changes that you're going through, is who you want to be around and who you're attracted to being around has started to shift. Because there are people who maybe have gone through this shit or been affected by this shit, or see this just as you do. It's starting to pull out who you're attracted to. Taurus. Step out of your comfort zone, North Node. We talked about that in the astrology. It shows up. When this card shows up, I recommend to you, Taurus, go check your natal chart and see where your North Node is, right? Because what is the North Node? It's stuff that we haven't learned yet. So it's a little bit more challenging for us. But is it our way forward? If we confront it. Our South Node is the place that we have already mastered. But it is a place that we could speak of through wisdom, right? We have wisdom there, which is maybe why we feel a little bit more comfortable with it. But ultimately, the North Node can be distractions. That's really where the challenge is. The North Node could be intentionally distracting to you because you don't know it, and it's playing on your ego to like pay attention to me instead of your heart. So the challenge with the North Node is to not let the challenges distract you. Instead, to commit yourself to learning, but not to the point of distraction. A lot of people don't talk about the North Node that way, but it's something to be aware of. These challenges could be distracting you. How are your challenges distracting you? Think about it for a second. How are your challenges distracting you? And what are they distracting you from, more important? Because that's what I think is happening. There's a lot of petty shit that's going on right now to distract us from the real story, from what we're really aware of or what nobody else wants us to be aware of. There's a lot of petty shit going on. And ultimately, the challenge, the true challenge of the North Node is to not get distracted by it. To not let the North Node and all the challenges it poses throw you off course. Your heart is really the only guide for that. Remember, the nodes are part of the moon. And the moon has a shadow side to it, right? That sense of it can be very manipulative. It can be very deceptive. So what is this intel, this information? What are you being distracted from? You could be being distracted because you are not in a place or a situation that you feel comfortable with the way that you used to. But Taurus, that discomfort is the greatest teacher. It's that discomfort that's going to show you, what is it? Not to master it, but it's going to reveal the discomfort of the people that are in your position. It's going to reveal the in-between. That's what it reveals. What is in between the lines? What is in between the street corners? What's down the alleys? That's what it starts to reveal. And you start to see this side of life, like Tale of Two Cities, right? You start to see the other city that's living with that in that city. And I feel like there's a greater consciousness and understanding of how people live that maybe really starting to switch or catalyze this change or shift in you. So let's go into your tarot card reading. I will see you guys in the extended.